The past few weeks, it seems normalcy is gradually returning to the southeastern part of Nigeria. Recently, the governors made a very categorical statement and took certain steps that may not have been understood by all. But we try to make more sense out of all of this. And we have with us the Commissioner for Information, Ebonyi State, Uchenna Orji, to join us and talk through all of these things that has happened in the Southeast and maybe Ebonyi State in this special interview. Thank you so much for giving us your time. Let's begin from a broader scale before we zero down to your constituency, which is Ebonyi. Not too long ago, the Southeastern governors denounced IPOB and made certain comments, declared their position about the group and their activities. And a few days after, a group, Arewa Consultative Forum, came up to say that they recognize and commend the steps taken by the governors. How has this played out in that region? The reaction from the IPOB people and other residents of the Southeast?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, the governors of the Southeast have been up and doing, trying to ensure that they secure the various states of Southeast from the activities of bandits, including also the activities of armed herdsmen who have been attacking parts of the Southeast. But in all of these things, we need to appreciate the fact that there had been agitations by a group known as IPOB. And those agitations, of course, we would say are very germane. Agitation of issue of marginalization, the need for fair treatment of Southeast and, of course, all the zones of the Federation, and the need for equitable distribution of social amenities, bringing about economic development that will trigger even development across board. However, the governors of Southeast and indeed the leaders and stakeholders of Southeast are in one accord on the same position, and that is that whatever is the agitation, that we shouldn't go about it violently. And that is the position of the Southeast governors in the recent security meeting they had in Enugu, where they really reiterated their commitment to one Nigeria, where there is love, where there is peace, where there is egalitarian kind of principle that will bring about equality in all things, equality even in governance, talking about even the presidency. And they only said that our youth women should not allow themselves to be used by people who are not lovers of this country, who would like to plunge this country into a crisis, into a situation of war. We should look at the war of the early 60s, the Civil War, and what repercussion it gave to Southeast and indeed Nigeria as a country. And we should appreciate that there is no need to go into war or to allow those inflammatory statements and publications that will trigger war from any part. And that's why they took the bull by the horn by ensuring that they talk to our people to lay down their arms, and that we're not supporting anything separation or anything secession. We're supporting one Nigeria. We know the philosophy behind the formation of Nigeria by the founding fathers, including our own Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, who really worked together through the period to ensure that no matter the tribal differences, that they were together to chant for one cause, and that is how to have a very Nigeria that they eventually got in 1960. And so the labors of these our heroes' part should not be allowed to be event. That's the position of the leaders of Southeast.
It appears, from your comment now, that quite a lot must have happened apart from what is known in the media, apart from the meeting and the communique that come after it, that a lot of engagement must have taken place on the ground, to try to reach out to some of those people that are dissatisfied. Talk to us about some of these other engagements among the groups between the government and the people that may have resulted in the relative calmness that we are seeing now in the region.
Yeah, the governor of Ebonyi State, His Excellency Engineer Chief David Umezumahi, as chairman of Southeast Governors Forum, has always ensured commitment to one indivisible Nigeria. And so what he did was to initiate the issue of engagement processes, engagement to our stakeholders, not only in the Southeast, but across the entire South. I mean, not only in Ebonyi State, but across the Southeast zone. And so engagement with the traditional rulers, engagement with the town union leaders, with the local government chairman, that is government appointees, engagement with religious leaders, even across the religious leaning, including the Muslim within the state, to see how we can talk to our people to lay down their arms, to ensure that there shouldn't be armed herdsmen in any part of Southeast, and there shouldn't be banditry from even our people in the name of any organization, call it IPOP. We are beginning to appreciate the need to also talk to our youth women to look for something gainful means of livelihood. Because when you are idle, a lot of things will occupy your brain, especially in times like this when we are suffering hardship, unemployment issues, and lack of economic development, that can make for self-reliance, self-sufficiency, and all of that. And so the governor had to really get all the governors across the Southeast to talk to these leaders, opinion molders. And we're all in one accord that there is no need for war. Second war wouldn't be help in any way. And let me also mention that in addition to this engagement, the governor also offered what we call olive branch to even bandits, those professing IPOP. And even amnesty also was offered to them, issue of rehabilitation when they're able to really lay down their arms. And the idea of the governor is that these people will be given counseling and they will be made to really undertake any trade of their choice, entrepreneurship program of their choice, or any vocational trade of their choice. The government will empower them. That is why in addition to the NSAS program, a training, or rather a summit that we had for 7 days, looking at what we can do for the youths, how they can mainstream, how they can be part of the governance process. Government also rolled out 3 billion naira to ensure that those that can apply and undergo the processes can also access this money. And in addition to that, the governor also feels that a white-collar job will also help, that is increasing the workforce of the state. So a total of 5,000 number employment opportunities have been given, 2,000 at the local government level and 3,000 at the state level for civil servants. And those that are graduates and those that are young school leavers who ordinarily would have gone into other idle businesses would now take advantage of this so that they can lay their arms and do what will dignify their lives. And that is going to help us a lot. Now, apart from this, government is doing a lot of things to create facilities, make facilities available that they can take advantage of.
Before we settle into Ebonyi State, where I think you have already gotten to, let's look further, discuss more about the entire Southeast, because what has been in the news over time had not been about pace. It's more about people agitating and, making series of demands. One of them being that they want to have a referendum to, test whether the people themselves are satisfied with what Nigeria had been for them. Have you engaged these people? Have you thought about, when I'm talking about you, I don't mean you as an individual, but the leadership of the Southeast, engaged these people or thought about the possibility of carrying out a referendum? And if that is going to be an option, how will it work?
Yeah, issue of referendum is a constitutional issue, but it must be admitted that the entire Southeast have the view that the issue of this one Nigeria is non-negotiable. Having an indivisible country is non-negotiable because we see a lot of strength in having a very large country like this. The efforts of our heroes past, all the sufferings they had. I remember in 1946, Zik was a graduate and was earning less a dollar than a British graduate. And these are all the sufferings they did encounter in order to bring about one Nigeria. You remember the 1956 motion for self-rule. Even though at a point in time, those from the north said it was going to be possible as soon as practicable. But eventually it became in 1960, 1st of October 1960. And so Southeast is saying that we believe in one Nigeria. And so to have a referendum is to say that we are negotiating that. But even at that, even if you go for a referendum, the entire Southeast will tell you that we are comfortable in one Nigeria where there is love, where there is equity, where there is confidence.
Sorry, let me butt in. In the absence or where it appears that the equity may not be there, that justice may not be there, which may be responsible for the agitations, would it still be out of place for people to ask, let us ask, even test and see how willing people are in remaining part of the entity called Nigeria? You said that the entire Southeast are committed to one Nigeria, but that appears not to be exactly what it is. If not, there wouldn't be this agitation. If not, IPOP wouldn't be existing. If not, some of these groups that are asking for secession and all of that may not even be there. My question again is, hasn't it made sense to the leadership to think and engage with these people talking about referendum and find the possible ways? Because at the end of the day, that there was a referendum does not mean that there's going to be a break in the country. That the country may still remain the same, but then everybody had signed up to, remaining the same. Has the leadership of the Southeast engaged these people and thought in this direction?
I've told you the issue of referendum is a constitutional issue, and I don't need to flog it. Everything about even the creation of state is in the Constitution. Everything about creation of local government is in the Constitution. Everything about creation of polling units is in the Constitution. So for you to say referendum, it doesn't stop and end with saying referendum. There are processes that must be laid down under the Constitution. And the issue of determination of whether or not you belong to Nigeria is not in the Constitution. So you need to lay down the processes, and that is one of the reasons for this constitutional amendment. Perhaps if referendum for self-determination is going to be there, there has to be a clear provision under the Constitution, the ground norm of the country as it were. But let me also emphasize, when I said that the Southeast is for one Nigeria, I mean every bit of it. Even those agitating, they are saying, for all of these marginalizations that have stayed for many years, we cannot take this any longer. So what do? We need to talk to them, which is what we are doing, engagement processes and conversation processes, not only within the Southeast, but between the Southeast and other regions, and even between states of the Federation and the federal government. What do we do to tackle this agitation? How do we respond positively to this agitation? And when we look at the fact that even in the north there is an agitation, banditry in the north is even much higher than that in the southeast, and it's not because of nothing. It's because of issues of neglect on human capital development, lack of education, lack of employment, lack of empowerment, and lack of orientation brought about by leadership of years. While Southeast is agitating for secession, perhaps even in Yoruba land, we know the Sunday Harrow, is it Enahoro or Sunday Harrow, is also agitating for secession. And so in West too, the same thing, that is Northwest, a lot of agitation. But what is important is for us to understand that this country is better we are united. It's better we love each other. It's better we do the right thing. It's better we engage the leaders for them to really know that they have the mandate of the people. It's better to ensure that we enthrone the best hands at all times. The era of enthroning any kind of person is gone. We should look at the track records of people. We should look at the performance of people in the position they were before. And that is agitation of the youths and women across board, not only in the Southeast. So what we are saying is that at this point in time, that agitation is going violent. We must be wise, be intelligent, be godly by laying down our arms and avail ourselves with opportunities that federal government is creating, state governments are creating, even at the regional level, to ensure that we engage.
Okay, it makes sense, and I hope further engagement will continue, to get the youth, and the people that are not satisfied with the system to understand the advantage, that you have raised over the reverse that may not augur well with anybody. Now, let's take it to Ebonyi State. Some weeks ago, there was a report of an invasion where some citizens of Ebonyi State were killed in Benue State. There appears not to be a clear picture of what exactly happened, but I know you have the right information. Talk us through what actually transpired there.
Yeah, a local government in Benue State is housing a community of people that are having Ebonyi origin. That was at the time Benue was created. And even though they speak Ebonyi dialect, they are really, by the delineation that is available under Benue State. They have been making a case for this issue of referendum for them to determine where
whether they want to be in Ebonyi
yeah,
or
which
Benue.
actually has been their cry to be in Ebonyi. But this war reached them, this attack by bandits, in this case attack by herdsmen, who reached them. Over 50 of them, according to records, were really affected.
As in killed?
We are killed,
okay.
yes. And what government did was that immediately Ebonyi State government got wind of this. Being a proactive government, government had to really interface with or link up with Benue State. But because of want of a road, according to them, and because of the terrain, according to Benue State government, they couldn't reach there on time. But what is important is that government of Ebonyi State, in issue of responsibility and concern, had to immediately wade in and rescue quite a lot of them, brought them back to Ebonyi State, gave them hospitability, gave them hospital treatment too, and they gave them a lot of palliatives for them to really recover from the shock of the attack. And families of the attacked, that is the survivors, were also given a residence where they are currently staying as if they are IDP. But government is giving all the necessary care, both even government and non-governmental organizations within the state.
So the issue here is a bit mixed up and a bit complicated, because one, they have their roots, they have their origin in Ebonyi State. By the definition of Nigerian citizenship, they are from Benue State. So it's a bit of a task for the two states to agree and come together in order to solve their problem. But beyond that is the fact that the incessant attacks on communities by suspected herdsmen, because sometimes we all talk about herdsmen, but it may not be very clear and definite who is carrying out this attack. Has there been any form of investigation to confirm, first of all, where this attack is coming from before linking it to herdsmen?
The case of the attack on Ebonyi people in Benue State has been confirmed to be suspected herdsmen, armed herdsmen. Now, of course, the case of attack to Egedege people, where people were also attacked and killed, were also compellingly traced to herdsmen. And we feel that the law will take its course, because they will just do like hit and run.
What went wrong? Because over a long time, there has been strong presence of herdsmen in that axis of the southeast, and they have been living in peace. So what went wrong that these attacks had become a bit frequent?
Yeah, it is the aftermath of the national menace of insecurity. Inflammatory publications, inflammatory statements and counter statements, and also the effect of social media. But more importantly is the fact that these armed herdsmen are non-Nigerians. They are foreigners who invaded this our country, moved through the nooks and crannies of the country, and they are unleashing mayhem on people.
Is that a suspicion?
Yeah, that
or
is the
a confirmed
yeah,
position?
that is the suspicion, and even government authorities have also mentioned that we have issue of invasion of this country by foreign herdsmen, most of whom are armed. And of course, they are not patriotic, they have no allegiance to this country, and so they can do anything. Because you agree with me that that over the years, traditional herdsmen have been living with us, and we have been living peacefully. Everybody knows the do's and the don'ts. But what is important at this point is the deliberate effort to ensure that we ban open grazing in parts of the country, especially in the southeast, and also raise a lot of do's and don'ts that will guide grazing in parts of Nigeria.
The ban on open grazing was received with so much rejection by the northern part of the country when it was pronounced by the governors of the southern part of the country, where your governor was prominent, even as the chairman of the Southeast Governors Forum. Has there been any further engagement between the North and the South? I mean, the governors, if you have an idea, if you know, has there been further engagements to understand why the ban has to be made in the first instance?
Yeah, I cannot speak for southern Nigeria. I cannot speak for southeast. I can only say that as a citizen of Nigeria, I believe that consensus is all there is. When there are decisions and counter decisions, opinion and counter opinions, what will resolve it is roundtable talk. I feel that at this point, the leaders across board will have to meet, either through a constitutional process or through deliberate legislation that is across board. They will now decide that, look at the way to go. In the whole world, in advanced countries of the world, open grazing is outdated, it's outlandish, it's rustic, and so we need to appreciate that. But like I would say, it's not by inflammatory statement. We need to really agree we are one Nigeria with one leadership in Nigeria. And I think that when we meet together, we resolve all of these things. And it will be a win-win situation to all of us, and there will be no winner, no loser, no victor, no vanquished.
All right. Another interesting thing is that you mentioned it, at the earlier part of the conversation, that a lot of youth need to be engaged. They need to be kept busy, because when they are not busy, there are easy tools in the hands of people that want to destabilize the system. Tell us what the Ebonyi State government is doing to address this, because at some point it's believed or is suspected that most of the hawkers, male hawkers in the cities, particularly Lagos, are from Ebonyi State. And so it makes one to think that if they are better engaged, they may not be doing such, engaging in such activities in other parts of the country. What is Ebonyi State doing to engage young people and make them gainfully employed?
Yeah, the governor is looking at two sides to it. That is human empowerment and creation of environment. Now, in the area of creation of environment, the governor actually is making Ebonyi State to be an emerging economy in the southeast. Of course, today as I speak with you, Ebonyi State has the fastest developing economy in the whole of the southeast. So what did he do differently in order to create this kind of environment for our people, youth, women, and even our elders and even the younger ones? Is by creating access road so that you can do your business without any hindrance. Access road, as I speak with you, over 1,500 kilometers straight road has been done, 80% in concrete pavement. Is a novel. Of course, you know it is only Dangote that has done concrete pavement all over the country. And again, all the federal highways, linking to Ebonyi State have been done by the governor. All of this is to attract investment, to make for industrialization. And the governor also further had to deepen his infrastructural development by constructing flyovers. Ebonyi State, apart from Lagos and Abuja, is having the highest number of flyovers, incidentally under a single administration. And so to speak, Ebonyi State is having a government that is doing the highest number of flyovers in Nigeria in history. And now, what is the essence of this is to attract investors to make for industrialization. And again, let me say that with the creation of environment, talking about roundabouts, wonderful street light, wonderful water fountains, including what we call Africa's biggest water fountain that is on board in Ebonyi State, is going to attract creative industry, entertainment industry. Today we have what we call the face of Ebonyi State. You need to come and appreciate that. That is a four-way light tunnel, never seen anywhere in Africa. It's the biggest, about 96 span, four-way light tunnel, very beautiful, glitters in an eye. This will also attract investment, attract also creative industry. Now, what of other economic facilities? The shopping mall that the governor built is about the biggest in Africa. I'm quoting Mr. Bruce of Silverbird. And this is going to house no less than 5,000 shops. It's going to create no less than 10,000 jobs, direct and indirect jobs. The national airport that the governor is building is going, in fact, it's the fastest ever project in airport ever in Nigeria. And the governor is thinking that by the end of 2021 that the first plane will land there, all things being equal. And again, this will create jobs. You know what it means? This will also encourage trade, national trade, local trade, and national trade.
Okay, so from what you're saying, it appears the state is opening rapidly.
It's opening rapidly.
But what about human capital development?
That is what I'm coming to.
Okay.
Apart from this opening of environment for the people, so that they can have unhindered business, the governor is doing individual empowerment. Incidentally, I was commissioner for human capital development for 2 years. We went to Lagos under our dear governor, empowered 520 number Ebonyans walking in the streets of Lagos using women, gave them 130 million naira free of charge. Today they are cruising in prosperity with their family.
So they are off the streets now?
They are off the streets.
Can we assess, can we measure to verify that?
I can tell you that if you ask of the measure, the index of the people that used to be in the streets of Lagos and the number we have now, there is a high reduction. And the governor also went to Onitsha and saw the situation, barrow pushers, Okada riders, even those into IPOP at that time. Because the governor of Anambra State said then that some of those into IPOP were from Ebonyi. What did the governor do? The governor procured tricycles, 400 number tricycles, and gave to youth and women about 650,000, per one, about 260 million for the 400 number. I was there, and it was shared to youth and women, 140 number to those, extremely poor people in Onitsha, Anambra State, and 260 number to those within the shores of the state. And today their means of livelihood has been dignified.
In other words, the government is taking steps to engage and get the youth and women busy in order to dry up the pool of resources, used by bandits and those who are planning evil against the country.
Fantastic.
That's a fine place.
Fantastic. Let me also mention that we have what is called vocational college. The idea is to really capture the artisans, the craftsmen, the technicians who are in the field, all of these people in the street, to give them training. Yes. And after that certification, they will be aided, they will be assisted to access government empowerment programs, including the CBN empowerment programs and the Bank of Industry empowerment program.
That's a fine place. That's a fine place. We need to let it go now. It's interesting, and maybe the part 2 of this conversation will be to find ways of verifying some of these claims that you made, so that we'll have a more informed opinion about what is happening in Ebonyi State and perhaps the southeastern part of the country. Thank you so much, Mr. Uchenna Orji, the Commissioner for Information, Ebonyi State. We appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
And to you that watched, it's our pleasure that you did. Let's do it again. Thank you so much for watching.